I'm Mark.
And I'm Josh.
And this is Alter Ego Comics TV for the week of September 16th, 2015. We live, eat, and breathe comic books. We work at Alter Ego Comics, a comic book store in Lima, Ohio, and every week we pour through all of the new releases the night before New Comic Book Day and report back to you on the books that we like the most. Lots of stuff this week, including lots of trade paperbacks, but we'll start with my pick, and this was a close call, but I am going to go with the new issue of Star Wars. Star Wars number 9, written by Jason Aaron, artwork by Stuart Immonen. Just read it. Read it, buy it. Star Wars is awesome over at Marvel. This storyline sees Han and Leia being pursued by a bounty hunter who also may happen to be the former Mrs. Solo or the current Mrs. Solo. Luke is on a planet having to fight.
Technically, he's on a moon.
He's on a moon.
It's Nar Shaddaa.
That's what she said. Nar Shaddaa, yes.
That means Nar Shaddaa is in continuity now, though, because these are canon.
We have some fireworks.
I'm excited about it. Nar Shaddaa is awesome. Smuggler's Moon, run by Hutts.
All right, so Luke fights a Hutt with mechanical legs, kind of looks like Mojo from the X-Men. All kinds of awesome stuff going on here, and Immonen's artwork is breathtaking. I said this last issue, which was his first issue on the series, and it just keeps getting better and better. So this series shows no signs of the shine fading away off of it. From issue number 1, we're 9 issues in, and it's been consistently one of the best books that Marvel is publishing, and just all kinds of awesome for Star Wars fans. Your thoughts?
I loved it. I love Star Wars. Jason Aaron's doing a great job. Go Star Wars.
He loves Nar Shaddaa.
I do love Nar Shaddaa.
I don't even know what Nar Shaddaa is. So.
I'll explain it to you later.
All right.
First up for me,
sort of ritual.
We've got Tokyo Ghost number 1 from Image. This is written by Rick Remender with art by Sean Murphy. And that's all you need to know. Rick Remender, Sean Murphy, check it out. No. This is a love story, a story of a woman who fell in love, or I guess a girl who fell in love with a boy, and then as they got older, the boy kind of lost himself and kind of gave way to addictions and to badness. And this is about her trying to struggle through and still care for this person who she loves, even though he's not really the person she fell in love with, and trying to save him from himself. It is also a super crazy Mad Max meets Transmetropolitan future with Judge Dredd elements and death races and video game life and giant motorcycles and the internet in your brain all the time. So if that sounds like something awesome to you, you should check it out.
All right. It's here, folks.
The time has come.
At least 7 years in the making, possibly more than that. We have Captain America White, number 1, by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. These are the guys behind the Marvel Color books. That would be Spider-Man Blue, Daredevil Yellow, and Incredible Hulk Gray, all of which are excellent and should be in your personal libraries. Captain America White, with the first issue, looks like it's going to join the ranks of those series that we hold in such high esteem. This is a story, the bookends, or the beginning of the story is Cap waking up in Avengers HQ after being thawed out of the ice in the 1960s. And then we get a flashback story taking place during the war, during the 1940s. And basically, this story is going to revolve around Bucky. Cap narrating the story, and similar to the way Spider-Man Blue was about Peter's relationship with Gwen, Daredevil Yellow was about Matt's relationship with Karen, Incredible Hulk Gray was about Bruce's relationship with Betty, or more accurately, the Incredible Hulk's relationship with Betty. And now, it's a little weird, but Cap's relationship with Bucky is the focal point of this series. And they haven't missed a beat. You know, I don't know when Loeb had this script done, but it feels just like those other color books. And if you happen to miss out on the Zero issue that came out 7 years ago, they've included that after issue number 1, and it really doesn't have any. It doesn't fit in, really.
It doesn't fit in chronologically,
right.
But tonally, I mean, it's a story
tonally,
about...
it's the same.
Yeah.
But it's nice to see that there and have a refresher. And it's just, it's a classic World War II era Captain America story with Bucky and Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandos, Nazis, and all kinds of cool stuff. But at the heart of it, it's a relationship story between Captain America and Bucky, and Steve acting as kind of a father figure for Bucky. a little bit different than what we saw in the films. Well,
More of like an older brother. I mean,
well, there's a scene in here where Bucky says, "You're not my dad," and,
right?
I guess you could say that to an older brother.
I mean, because they're only Steve. I mean, they were going out of basic at the same time, so Steve can't be more than 4 or 5 years older. He's in his early 20s. He was 4F for a while, so
yeah.
Bottom
line with this, if you're a Captain America fan, you have to pick it up. If you're a fan of Loban Sale's previous works, pick it up. I really enjoyed it. And this was a close second to pick of the week territory for me.
Great book. Over on the Dark Horse side of things, we've got Paybacks #1, written by Donny Cates and Elliot. Written by Donny Cates and Elliot Rahal, with art by Jeff Shaw. And when not everyone has the good fortune to have millionaire parents that get themselves killed, leaving them a fortune. So if you want to become a superhero and you want to have cool gadgets and fast cars and awesome stuff, you've got to get money from somewhere. And in this comic, the somewhere where people get the stuff is from Mr. Pierce. He's a mysterious figure who loans large sums of money to people who want to be superheroes. And if you miss your payments, he sends his team called the Paybacks out to collect the various things you've purchased. And then if you still owe him money beyond that, basically force you to join the team and help them repo other superhero stuff. This is great. This is incredibly funny. In the first issue, we've got them repoing essentially a Batman-type character. But the team is made up of just amazingly funny, ridiculous characters. You've got Sisquatch, who is a friend of the trees and things that live in them, and also a party animal. We've got the Soviet Nunchuck, the only man to have ever fought in the Cold War. And he's great because he speaks no English, so the team spends their time trying to convince him to speak basically lines from 80s movies and 90s movies. I'll be back from the Terminator, and lines from Blade and stuff. And then you're following these people off on teams. Their adventures or their powers and abilities are ridiculous. It's very humorous interaction, and obviously you've got some parody stuff. I love the Batman-esque, who's called, and I'm going to pronounce this the way it's spelled so you can hear what I'm reading, Knight Knight. And he rides a stallion which appears to be a unicorn called Knightmare. It's so good. It's just ridiculously funny. And it's a very refreshing, I guess it's technically a superhero story, but it's got the Batmobile getting repoed on the cover, so what more do you want?
A pull quote from Gerard Way on
the
cover.
Gerard Way's pull quote is, "I think my favorite thing about the book is that Knight doesn't ride the unicorn. That, I think, is genius."
Awesome. All right, we have a triple play of trade paperbacks that came out this week that you should be aware of. First, we have 2 books from Image. We have The Fade Out, Volume 2, as well as Birthright, Volume 2, and these are 2 of the best books being published right now, hands down. Couldn't be more different. Fade Out is a noir murder mystery set during kind of the golden age of Hollywood. And we talk about it all the time, so if you haven't checked it out, please do so. It is so awesome. The first volume is $9.99, I think.
Yes. The first trade is, yes.
The first trade, so good introductory trade. Same thing with Birthright. Birthright, we've talked about many times before. It's kind of I want to call it an urban fantasy, but I don't know if that's accurate or not. Definitely the fantasy element. About a boy who is kidnapped or lost as a child, returns as a grown man a couple years later, and has spent basically most of his life evolving in a fantasy world that may be trying to invade ours. So it's just all kinds of fun. Written by Joshua Williamson. Fade Out, of course, written by Ed Brubaker. And then finally, The Flash Season 0, Volume 1. This may be the only volume.
I believe it is.
Yeah.
I mean, they may do more in the setting, but as part of Season 0, that should be all the issues.
But if you are a fan of the TV show, you absolutely need to check this out. Even if you've never read comics before, this would be a good gateway into the comic book world. So we were debating before we started shooting when exactly this takes place, because it's not really Season 0, because he doesn't get the suit and become the Flash until Season 1, and he obviously has the suit and becomes the Flash, and is the Flash when this series begins. So just ignore that. Just take it as stories that are set during the continuity of the TV show. Written by Andrew Kreisberg, who is writer, producer on the show. Artwork by Phil Hester. Just great stuff. Very similar to the Arrow season 0 books that have been coming out. Great for fans of the TV shows, but also very enjoyable to those of us that read the comics.
Last up for me, I've got a quick indie twofer reminding you that some books are still great. Ivar Timewalker is on issue 9, written by Fred Van Lente, with art by Pere Perez. And this is actually especially cool. It's the start of the third arc of the book, but essentially we see a inversion of the first arc of the book. The sidekick not sidekick really, she's almost basically the main character of the book, who Ivar picks up in the first issue and shows the wonders of time travel, has now gone back in time to pick up Ivar when he was very young, right after or actually it might be before, he turned his brother immortal and tried to save Gilad and made him into the Eternal Warrior. And it's just great, the interaction, the inversion of the jokes from before, I love time travel humor, and this has plenty of it. So Time Walker's great, and also perpetually awesome is Sex Criminals. We have issue 12 out today. This is the first issue of the third arc, and it's just great. But another thing you need to know about is Sex Criminals 11 sold out, so they have brought it back in a new printing. Now, this new printing gives you a unique opportunity. It features a blacked out or a whited out face on Matt and Chip, and then some blank spots. So they have invited you to doodle on their cover and come up with your own, essentially your own variant for it. Post it on social media under the tab Brimper Picks, and they will select a winner from that. The winner will get of awesomeness, including a copy of Big Hard Sex Criminals, where Chip has drawn a penis by hand on every page. Some original erotic fan fiction written by Matt Fraction, starring Chip Zdarsky and a character of your choice. And there's something else. It's a graphic novel, another cool Sex Criminals thing. But if you like Sex Criminals and the humor in this book, this is an awesome opportunity for you to show Matt and Chip how funny and weird and sexy you are. So.
And we know that a lot of you are out there because reading the letters pages in Sex Criminals for the last dozen issues, there's some very talented writers with creative minds out there. So I'm really curious to see how this plays out. Sex Criminals is just a really, really good book. All right, well, that does it for this week. Another week closer to the beginning of October, when the Marvel Universe kind of sort of resets. We don't know what's going to happen at the end of Secret Wars, but it hasn't come out till like December, so yeah. Who knows?
What else happens in October?
At the shop?
At the shop.
Yes, if you're in the vicinity, definitely come by October 7th. It's a Wednesday, new comic book day. We've got Eisner Award-winning writer Gene-Luen Yang, who's currently writing Superman for DC Comics. He's got his own self-published books. Coders is a new book that'll be out.
I think it's called Secret Coders.
Secret Coders, sorry. About high school kids coding.
Yeah, and that's actually cool because it will teach a kid how to code, to actually write computer programs. It disguises the learning, but it's in there.
He writes the Avatar books for Dark Horse, and of course won the Eisner several years ago for his self-published book, American-Born Chinese. So we are thrilled to have Gene-Luen Yang here on Wednesday, October 7th. He'll be here from 3 until 5. And then if you're an educator and you happen to be in the area, we're doing a teacher's night that same day from 6:30 until 8, where we'll be talking about, or I should say Gene will be talking about using comics in the classroom and his experience with that. He actually wrote a comic book when he was substitute teaching math to help the kids learn some of the concepts that were going on there. So definitely the biggest, no offense to anybody prior to this, the biggest name we've had in the shop since we've opened. So we're really excited about it. Wednesday, October 7th, Gene-Luen Yang will be here, and we hope you will be too. That's it for this week. If you like the episode, please give us a thumbs up. Share this with your friends and family members, everybody, so we can help spreading the word about how awesome comics are. See you next time.